A recent leak regarding Destiny 2 seemingly confirms the return of a divisive Destiny 1 raid in the upcoming season, albeit in a new format. A new Destiny 2 leak supposedly confirms the identity of the next reprised Destiny raid arriving with the upcoming Season 22, allegedly reworked to feature updated mechanics and rewards. Since the Beyond Light era, each expansion has featured a raid from the original title, beginning with the Vault of Glass in Season of the Splicer and King's Fall in Season of Plunder. The two returning raids have been received exceptionally well by players, with many praising Bungie's ability to craft timeless encounter designs, something players have found lacking in Destiny 2's recent six-man endgame activity. Raids are multi-person activities staple to most MMORPGs, representing the pinnacle of teamwork where players work together to overcome challenging mechanics, traverse treacherous obstacle courses, and fight difficult bosses to obtain uniquely powerful loot. The Vault of Glass was the first raid featured in the original Destiny, throwing players into the temporal underbelly of the Vex civilization. Overall, the franchise features 14 raids, including the two previously mentioned reprisals and 2 raid lairs. Representing the peak of activity throughout the two games' history, raids are intricately tied to the narrative and often lead to revelations into the nature of light and darkness. Bungie has been tight-lipped regarding the name of Season 22's raid, only confirming September 1st as the release date and that it will have similar rules to other returning raids for the first completion challenge. However, according to a recent leak reported by the Game Post, the reprised and featured raid of the upcoming season is Crota's End. While this isn't an official statement to confirm the leak's validity, information provided by other reputed leakers has suggested the Hive Prince as the Guardian's next target. It's important to note that other leaks have indicated Crota's End will feature updated mechanics to combat the increase of player power in Destiny 2. Reprised raids have always been a topic of speculation for the community, mainly to generate hype. However, the string of leaks suggesting the return of Crota's End has divided the Destiny 2 community. Crota's End was notoriously soloable even in the early days, with many in the community likening it to a strike owing to its relatively short completion time. The suggestion of updated mechanics and champion combatants hasn't deterred the community members who wished for Wrath of the Machine's return in Season 22. Many players have pointed out that if the leaks prove true, it will mark Crota's 4th official appearance, matching the record of Taniks. As Bungie faces criticism over poor communication about Destiny 2, repetitive content, and other issues, many feel it would be a mistake to further reinforce one of the main points of said criticism. The studio has promised more information leading up to the upcoming annual showcase and Season 22's official announcement on August 22, which might potentially reveal the name of the reprised raid in question. Destiny 2 is available now for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X/S. A developer from Larian Studios provides insight on whether fans of the game should hope for Baldur's Gate 3 DLC sometime in the future. A big expansion pack for Baldur's Gate 3 isn't currently in active production, according to developer Larian Studios, but it's not impossible that it might still happen sometime down the line. A recent interview with the founder of Larian Studios, Sven Vink, revealed much on how the dev feels about the game's release and its success, and why moving on from its current balance would be a heck of feat. The sheer popularity of Baldur's Gate 3 cannot be overstated, with the game beating record after record following its launch from Steam's Early Access program. Baldur's Gate 3 is doing so well, in fact, that it's already managed to compete with the monumental release of Hogwarts Legacy from earlier in 2023, signifying the success of Larian Studios' seminal CRPG. One of the things that Dungeons & Dragons players jumping into Baldur's Gate 3 will have already noticed, however, is that Larian Studios has opted for a relatively low character level cap in the game. The max is 12, compared to D&D's max baseline of 20, and this was brought up in PC Gamer's recent interview with Sven Vink. According to Vink, it would be very hard for Larian to balance D&D's level 20 spells, like Foresight and Wish, in the context of Baldur's Gate 3, and doing so would make DLC much more than an expansion in terms of development effort. Vink thus admitted that Larian Studios is not working on a DLC of any sort at this time, and even though he didn't outright deny the possibility of it happening, he said that fans would need to wait for a long time for anything on that front. As Baldur's Gate 3 is a huge RPG adventure, it's not like players will be running out of things to do in the game, so it's hardly a wash. It's worth pointing out that some classic D&D classes are missing from Baldur's Gate 3, and introducing them into the base game post-launch may be less of a hassle for Larian Studios than reaching character level 20 would be. It's still a huge amount of effort, however, and the job may be better suited for the game's modding community sometime down the line. Baldur's Gate 3 still has some issues, such as the game's reliance on an external launcher on top of Steam, for example. Larian's decision to implement this feature is curious and forces players to wait a bit longer before jumping into the game after opening it up on Steam, making some wonder why the developer would follow such a strange industry trend. Baldur's Gate 3 is out now on PC, with a PS5 version releasing on September 6. EVO 2023 competitors report that the PS5s used for the tournament have had their USB ports melt from overheating, suggesting a big issue. The fighting game tournament EVO 2023 is using Sony PlayStation 5 consoles, and some competitors have begun reporting that their USB ports have melted due to overheating in some instances. With photos and witnesses corroborating the stories, it seems that there's some merit to the idea that the lack of heat dissipation may lead to the PS5's crucial input/output ports melting in action. With EVO 2023 being Street Fighter VI's competitive debut, it was important for attendees to be at the top of their game. The acclaimed tournament hasn't historically had similar issues, and it's not the first to use the PS5 as its console of choice, meaning that there may be more to the story that is being reported. According to EVO 2023 competitors, numerous PS5 consoles have suffered USB port failures due to an extreme lack of heat dissipation, leading to meltdowns. With plenty of reports and pictures to show for it, such as the ones posted by Eduardo Cuervo on Twitter, it certainly seems like something has gone awry at the tournament, ruining both the PS5s and the connected cables in one fell swoop. Though it's currently unclear what's caused all these problems, they're definitely widespread enough to draw concern. People have been posting on Reddit about the problem, too, as Syrupy Cereal shared their own picture of a melted-down USB cable. With PS5 console sales far outpacing Xbox Series X/S, the potential for this problem to proliferate is immense, and Sony is yet to chime in with an official report. It's possible that the constant plugging and unplugging of devices at EVO 2023 somehow led to the issue, but more information is pending. At face value, the present issue with the PS5 USB meltdowns may remind some gamers of last year's NVIDIA GPU power cables melting in their sockets. Though relatively similar, these problems were caused by users not plugging the cables in all the way, and it's improbable that a similar issue was so widespread at EVO 2023. Instead, it seems likely that the problem is with the PS5s themselves. It's not all bad news at EVO 2023, however. The incredible tournament victory of a blind Street Fighter VI player went viral, for example, showing just how potent and important these events are. If they keep leading to cable and controller meltdowns, though, that may well change and the organizers may end up going with a console other than the PS5 to prevent further problems. News recently broke about PS4 and Switch ports for Red Dead Redemption, killing recent hype around a rumored remake or remaster for the title. Red Dead Redemption has been at the top of fans' minds in recent weeks as rumors began circulating of a potential remake or remaster for the title. A project such as this has long been desired by the franchise's community, who see a remake as the next logical step for the IP following the success of 2018's RDR2. Recent developments made the possibility of a Red Dead Redemption remaster quite likely, although these hopes have now been dashed by Rockstar. With the company instead revealing that RDR will receive ports for the Nintendo Switch and PS4 in the near future, it seems that any hopes of an upcoming remaster for the game have bitten the dust. It has now been confirmed that Red Dead Redemption will be coming to Nintendo Switch and PS4 on August 17, with physical copies of the ports being available on October 13. Retailing at $49.99, the releases are the first time that Red Dead is available on a Nintendo platform, while allowing the game to be played on PS5 consoles through backwards compatibility. The ports include the full single-player campaign, as well as the beloved Undead Nightmare Zombie DLC. Sadly, the ports do not include the original game's enjoyable multiplayer mode, which is already leading some to question the price tag of the upcoming ports. With these ports offering no graphical enhancements or 60 FPS, a little disappointment among fans is justified. When considering how fans were expecting a much larger project, the announcement of the ports is decidedly bittersweet. Ever since the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, fans have been well aware of the possibility of a remaster for its 2010 predecessor. With RDR2 being such a large-scale project involving most of the cast from the original game, while even taking place in many of the same areas, it seems that a lot of the groundwork for a Red Dead remake in the more modern RDR2 engine had already been done. While many iconic older titles may get the remake treatment for the sake of graphical improvement, there is a clear need for the story of RDR to be recontextualized around its later prequel. Things like references to Arthur Morgan could easily be added within a Red Dead remake, creating a seamless narrative experience between the two games. Elements such as this were exactly why fans were so excited about rumors suggesting a remake. With RDR2 nearing 5 years since its release, excitement within the franchise's community has begun to wane, and a remake would have been the perfect way to tide fans over until the next major Rockstar release. These announced ports have seemingly had an opposite impact to many fans, who were expecting a much more fleshed-out and modern take on the classic title. Of course, Grand Theft Auto 6 is expected to launch within the next few years, and a Red Dead remake could have been the near-future release to keep players engaged. This would have only worked in a very specific timeframe which has now passed, and it's now unlikely that a remake will release any closer to GTA 6's launch. This sadly means that fans will likely have to wait years for a potential remake of RDR, if it ever comes out at all. While signs did seem to point to a remake, the recent port news for Red Dead Redemption seems to have finally laid these dreams to rest. Red Dead Redemption is available now for PS3 and Xbox 360, and releases on August 17 for PS4 and Switch. The PS5 Slim model leaks again, this time on video, with an insider claiming that the console won't further complicate Sony's PlayStation 5 lineup. A supposed slim variant of the PlayStation 5 leaked for the second time over 24 hours, this time on video. The previous possible sighting of a slim PS5 model arrived in the form of Alora's image. Rumors of another PS5 revision have been circulating the industry for a while now. This has gotten to the point that even Microsoft seems convinced the PS5 Slim is coming soon, with its lawyers claiming as much during the company's recently concluded legal clash with the Federal Trade Commission. A hands-on video of a chassis that supposedly belongs to the slimline variant of the PlayStation 5 surfaced online on August 11, having been shared by Twitter user boy_dev. The case doesn't appear to be visibly slimmer so much as shorter than the regular $499 console, which comes equipped with a Blu-ray drive. The most obvious difference between the two is that the leaked chassis appears to feature a detachable optical drive, as indicated by a notable gap about 1/3 of the way down from the top of the console. The revision is reportedly identified by model number CFI 2016, as per the same source. For context, the latest PS5 and PS5 Digital Edition consoles are labeled as the CFI 1202A and CFI 1202B, respectively. Established industry insider Tom Henderson reports that this smaller variant of Sony's system is indeed real, but that it won't further complicate the existing PS5 lineup or have any consumer-facing impact on it whatsoever. The CFI 2016 is instead supposedly meant to streamline Sony's manufacturing process by allowing it to use a single production line for both models, then simply assemble the more expensive one with an optical drive. Having one such modular system instead of two distinct ones would theoretically help the Japanese company keep its production costs down. A detachable Blu-ray drive could also lower the cost of repairs, as failed disc readers would be significantly easier to replace. But that's not to say that this PS5 revision is going to have a user-detachable drive, at least assuming the user isn't a tinkerer with a screwdriver. The chances that the disc reader would be a truly modular block that could simply slot into the new PS5 are slim. While such a design would allow Sony to even sell the drive separately as a user-friendly way to upgrade the digital edition of the console, it would offer much worse read speeds compared to the data ribbon cable that connects the motherboard to the Blu-ray drive in the current PS5 model. Nevertheless, this new influx of leaks offers a strong indication that a new PS5 revision is indeed on the horizon. It is